James, you've been red hot at the plate now for a few weeks. What are the specific adjustments that you worked on, maybe are still working on to get back to where you want it to be?
Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed early in the year is I was just getting stuck on my backside. Wasn't getting balls out front the way I should, and turned into me coming around a lot of baseball. So one of the adjustments I've made is just getting back to who I was as far as getting through the baseball and not getting stuck. And it's turned in some results, which has been nice to see.
How do you do that? What are the types of things that you tried to work on, I guess, to get back to that?
Yeah, it's just a mindset. Sometimes it's funny the way the game works is. When things aren't going your way, you change things mechanically that you wouldn't normally do, and it's finding a way to come out of that little funk. So you do different drills in the cage, maybe think a different thought process for a couple of days just to get away from one extreme to go to another extreme and find a way to meet in the middle.
I know people have said, hey, maybe those few days where you weren't catching, where you were playing first base and you could just kind of focus on the hitting aspect of it helped you. Is that just a coincidence that you started to come around then, or was there something to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is something to it. Just with, there's a few days where, they talked to me and said, we want you to get work in the cage and, get back to who you are. It is tough at times when you're playing every day, competing against the best pitching in the world, and trying to make an adjustment that you're getting away from. You see it with guys all over the league, and it happens all throughout the season. Doesn't matter if it's April or September. Guys trying to make adjustments in big spots are tough. But yeah, there probably is something to me, just getting in the cage and having a few days to work on things. But it's something that we had talked about when Q and Kevin Howard got here. This is what I need to do, where I need to be, and it was kind of a several-day process. So I wouldn't just say it was the one day or the few days I was playing first base. It was something we've been working on.
You probably have a really unique point of view on this, and you mentioned facing off against some of the best pitchers in the world. There's no secret that pitching this year has just been significantly up compared to where it's been in the past, and offense has been so much harder. From your point of view, from your perspective as both a hitter and a catcher, how different has it been up at the plate? What's been the biggest challenge as the velocity has gone up the way it has and the pitchers have had the type of success they've been having?
Yeah, well, the first thing I can say to that is when I first broke into the league in 2014, the mindset of a team, of an offensive group, was let's get the starter out as soon as we can to get to the middle of their bullpen. You didn't want to see the 7th, 8th, 9th guy, 9-inning guys. You wanted to get the starter out to get that middle of the bullpen. Well, now, they take the starter out in the 4th or the 5th so they can bring in the middle of their bullpen guy. You got guys that are throwing the 5th and the 6th that are sitting 98 with a 90-mile-an-hour slider. So that aspect is different in itself. Is you don't have the guys that are throwing 90 and 91 unless it's just unbelievable movement. So that's a huge difference, but the other difference is, balls are moving a little bit differently. You can call it sticky substance, you can call it them changing the balls, and the seams are a little bit more raised, and so it's catching the air different. I don't know the reason for that, but the numbers surely are backing that. The other thing is I don't think that as a game it's fair to point in one direction, that it's only the sticky substance that the pitchers potentially are using, or it's only the change in the baseball. I can sit here and tell you right now there's more data now than there was 2 years ago, and that's just a 2-year, talk about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it's a huge difference. Pitchers are able to go watch their slow motion camera and see, oh, here's why hitters are picking up my slider. I'm doing this differently, or the ball's not coming out properly. So there's a lot more data. There's a lot more technology that is aiding the pitchers, and hitting is reactionary. There's not that. You don't have that type of knowledge. That type of. Okay, great. We slow down your swing. Well, it doesn't help the fact that a guy throwing 102 in Jacob deGrom, his slider looks just like his 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's breaking, whatever it's breaking. So. I think there's a lot of things that can point to why there's been an offensive drop-off, not just one thing.
You mentioned Jacob deGrom. I'm sure you had an idea of what you were signing up for when you came over here, but now that you've had a chance to catch him for a few months and to catch him during the greatest start in Major League history, has anything surprised you in any way?
I say surprise. he finds a way to wow you every time he takes the mound, in a different way, different form, different fashion. He's unbelievable. You know, I don't say you get tired of it, but you kind of get tired of, man, how does this guy keep doing it? You know, it's pretty impressive what he's done. And it's the same thing for me that I started saying in spring training when I first was getting to know him. His understanding of his own mechanics, his understanding of what his pitches do. I mean, it's like he's got a slow motion camera in his head. He knows when his release point's off. He knows when he has to make an adjustment, and that's why he makes adjustments from pitch to pitch. And that to me, I mean, obviously his stuff is ridiculous, but that to me is what makes him so special.
You've caught so many greats in your career already. Is anybody that you've caught someone that comes close in terms of that aspect of the ability to make adjustments that quickly?
No, not what, I mean, stuff-wise, yeah, Verlander was really, really special when I first was coming around him. You know, and still, before his recent injury, he was pretty darn good. But he's on another level. Jake's on another level. It's just different. It's people say he's from a different planet. He might be from a different planet.
James, I'll leave you with this. Obviously, tonight you got a young starting pitcher who's searching a little bit. As a catcher, as a veteran catcher, what are the types of things that you're trying to do to help get David Peterson back on track?
So one of the things is, as a catcher, and it's a lot easier now being more of a veteran guy than when I was younger, is I can go to him and say, look, I don't want you to think about anything other than executing whatever I put down. Don't worry about what you see from the hitter. Don't worry about anything other than executing this pitch. And if you don't execute that pitch, move on to the next one. You know, and that's you know, as a hitter, you do the same thing. All you can focus on is executing whatever you're trying to execute, that one pitch at a time. If you hit the ball hard and it goes right at somebody, that's what happens. So same thing with him, same thing with any pitcher that's struggling. It's, hey, you're going to focus on making this one pitch at a time. If the guy hits out of the ballpark, hits out of the ballpark. And then we identify what our mistake was. But that's the biggest thing, is you can't let things snowball. You can't let one bad start turn into a second bad start, turn into a string of bad starts. You just got to find a way to focus on each individual pitch and execute that one pitch.
James, appreciate the time, and it's great to do this in person finally.
Absolutely. Absolutely.